here's what the yellow rose looks like when all the steam seam has been pressed. The second pattern in our Texas Edition block of the month is yellow rose, and I think you'll find this much faster to go than the Old Texan pickup truck because there's a lot less pieces. Now there's a lot of small pieces here too, but I believe the largest number is number 48. So, and the other one, the Old Texan, had 62 pieces. So already that's a little bit faster. I'm going to be making the large one. If you want to make the small one, the pieces are going to be very tiny, so you'll have to have a little patience when you're tracing and cutting them, but it's perfectly doable. But the large one, you'll need to cut the pages apart on the dashed lines and tape them together, so you'll have these two. And remember, we trace the pattern turned over on your light box. Now before we go through this, I wanted to show you the fabric you'll be getting. You'll have a chart like this, a copy of this chart with your fabric, and there are 5 fabrics I believe we're going to use that you got in the first month, and I'll show you what those are on here. So let's start here. You'll get another background piece. Next time you should have enough background from the first set of fabric. The next one is letter B fabric, which is Ivory Vintage Map, and on here I've written it's Old Texan letter L. So if you look in your package from Old Texan, it's letter L, and where is it? Here it is. So here's my letter L, and you'll be using this fabric again. And the same thing, you'll see there's a check mark. The next one is letter C, and it's Old Texan B. And go down to the next check mark, and here's the check mark here. This is Old Texan K, and Old Texan Q is this one. And then the last one is up here. Old Texan G is this blue one. So all the other fabrics are either new or you've got replacements. And so this one has the fabric for the rose and the leaves, and then some fabric for the boots. I wanted to show you a little change on the fabrics that will be in your quilt as opposed to what is shown on the chart. For Q, which is marble dandelion yellow, these Q and R are both for the rose. What we were supposed to do with Q was take a fabric and use the front side for some pieces and use the back side for other pieces. But the yellows I found did not have a good back side, they just had white. So I have 3 different fabrics, and this is a light yellow, this is a medium yellow, and a dark yellow. So for Q, just plain Q, it will be this medium yellow. And the Q with the 2 asterisks next to it is supposed to be the reverse of this one, but it will be this lighter yellow. And then R is just the darker yellow. So you will have 3 fabrics here instead of 2 fabrics. This one is Q, this one is Q star star, and this one is R. On your sheet with the numbered sections on it, you'll see this color call-out little chart here. On this column, section number, and the area says it's on the boot, and the color is B, Tan Vintage World Map. So if you look here, here's B1. So that's how you find that fabric. It's on the boot. And if you go back to this chart, okay, I've isolated the first line, and I want to show you. You'll see that this number 1 is the only number on this line. So 1 is for the boot, and it's B, Tan Vintage World Map. If I go to the next line, I see that number 2 is for the boot as well, and it's fabric C, the red floral. And the same thing for number 3. And when we get to number 4, you'll see it has 4, 6, 13, and 19. And it's for the boot and the hat band. And all that is color is fabric E, caramel tonal. So when you're putting your, after you've traced all your numbers on the steam-a-seam, then you'll put all the fabrics together to put your steam-a-seam on your fabrics. So you'll see when you come to E, the caramel tonal, you know you'll have to have 4 little sections on that one fabric. So you can put them all together on the one fabric to save fabric. And then if you go to the next one, the ivory tonal is just 1, number 5 for the star. And then the next one, H, has 3 sections to it. And when you get down here to the bottom part, and you get to the Q and the R and the Q reversed. These are the fabrics we talked about where Q is the regular Q, and it has these section numbers here. And R is the R fabric, and you have 4 sections here. And then you have Q, yellow marble, which is supposed to be reversed. But that is our other fabric on the color card. Down here, this is the Q reversed right here. So you'll know that the Q reversed, which is our fabric Q star star, has these 5 pieces on it. What you're going to do, just like you did for Old Texan, you're going to turn this over on your light box and take your steam-a-seam, start with the letter 1, or the number 1. Start with the number 1 using this one as a reference. So the first one is fabric B, and it's number 1. Then C2. So you'll just go on and trace just like you did for Old Texan. And the parts that overlap, so B1 overlaps right here, you'll put the dashed lines. Now you'll see that there are some dashed lines drawn in the pattern itself. Those will be lines that you're going to draw in later, and it represents stitching lines on the leather of the boots. And here's some more up here. So you can disregard those when you're tracing on your steam-a-seam. After you've traced all of your steam-a-seam, you're going to have your fabric pieces. Now these I've already traced, and you separate all your tracings after you cut them out roughly and take all the fabrics and put them together. So for B there's only 1, and for C there's only 1, D, and go through and just lightly fuse all of your traced pieces onto the fabrics they belong on. Before you prepare your fabric for your Q star star, your sections that you have on that, you have for the Q star star you have section 36, 40, 41, 42, and 47. So there's 5 sections there. And it says you're supposed to use Weblon, but I prefer using a white fabric underneath it. So in the next video, it talks about how to prepare Weblon for your sections. But for sections 36, 40, 41, 42, and 47, for the Q star star, you're going to use the white fabric that's included in your kit. And just look at the next video, and wherever it talks about Weblon, just replace that Weblon with the white fabric.